They lied to you about courage. Told you it was a feeling you summon before the leap. Told you brave men feel fear and act anyway. Told you courage lives in the chest, in the heartbeat, in the tremble of your hands before the fight. They were wrong. Courage is not an emotion. It is a structure. A framework built in silence, in the dark, in rooms where no one watches. And once constructed correctly, failure does not become unlikely. It becomes impossible. Not because you win every battle, but because you become immune to the concept of loss itself. Machiavelli knew this. He watched men with loud hearts collapse under pressure. He watched quiet men with cold architecture inside them bend kingdoms to their will. This is not a lesson in bravery. This is the blueprint for building a self that cannot be broken. If you are ready to see what they have hidden from you, if you are ready to become the kind of person who moves through the world untouchable, then subscribe now. This knowledge is not given twice. The algorithm will bury this. Your hesitation will make you forget. Subscribe, and let this be the last time you ever doubt yourself. There was a man in Florence, 1501. His name does not matter. He was a merchant, wealthy, respected, known for his generosity and his smile. One morning he woke to find his warehouses burned, his ships seized, his name slandered in letters distributed across the city. His rivals had moved in the night. They had coordinated, they had waited, and they had struck when he was softest. The man did what most do. He panicked. He defended himself in the streets. He shouted his innocence. He begged the magistrates for fairness. He tried to gather allies. Within 3 months, he was exiled. His fortune dissolved. His family name became a joke. Machiavelli watched this. He was working in the chancery at the time. And in his notes, he wrote a single line. Courage that depends on the moment is not courage. It is chance. What did he mean? He meant that the merchant's error was not lacking bravery. The man had plenty of passion, plenty of will to fight. His error was believing courage was something you produce when needed, like pulling a sword from a sheath. But courage, real courage, Machiavellian courage, is not a weapon you draw. It is a fortress you inhabit. And if you wait until the siege begins to build it, you have already lost. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you hesitated? Not in a life or death moment. In something small. A conversation you avoided. A message you did not send. A risk you postponed. That hesitation was not cowardice. It was evidence. Evidence that you have not yet built the structure. You are still relying on summoning courage in the moment. And that makes you vulnerable. Because courage summoned is courage that can fail. But courage constructed, courage made permanent, courage woven into your identity so deeply that you do not even think about it anymore, that is what makes failure impossible. Now I know what you are thinking. You are wondering if this is about becoming fearless. It is not. Fear is irrelevant. Machiavelli did not concern himself with what you feel. He concerned himself with what you do, and whether what you do can be stopped. A man can feel terror every day of his life and still be unstoppable if he has built correctly. Another man can feel nothing and still crumble because his foundation is sand. Drop a comment right now. Tell me the last thing you hesitated on. Not to shame yourself, but to see it clearly. Because what you do not name, you cannot kill. Let me take you somewhere else. A duel, 1537. 2 men, both soldiers, both experienced. One of them, the night before, drank himself numb. Told his friends he was ready to die. Prayed to saints. Wept in private. The other did nothing unusual. He ate. He sharpened his blade. He slept 8 hours. The next morning, the first man walked onto the field with shaking hands and a heart full of forced resolve. He told himself he was brave. He told himself God would guide his hand. The second man walked onto the field the same way he walked to breakfast. No ceremony. No summoning. The fight lasted 11 seconds. The first man lunged too early, overcompensated for his fear, and died with a sword through his ribs. The second man wiped his blade and went to collect his payment. What separated them? The second man had made his decision about death years earlier. Not in a dramatic moment. Not on a mountaintop. In a quiet room alone. He had decided that his life was not precious. Not worthless, but not precious. He had disconnected his survival from his identity. And once that separation was complete, nothing could pressure him. He did not need courage the morning of the duel because courage was already his default state. He had built it into his nervous system. This is the first principle. Courage is not built on the day you need it. It is built on the 1,000 days before when no one is watching. Let me go deeper. Most people think courage is about action. About doing the hard thing. Machiavelli would tell you that is only half the equation. Courage is also about stillness. About doing nothing when the room is screaming at you to move. There is a special kind of terror in that. The terror of waiting. Of letting tension build. Of refusing to react even when reaction feels like the only option. Weak men cannot endure that. They move too soon. They speak too soon. They reveal their hand because the pressure of silence breaks them. But the man who has built courage, real courage, can sit in a burning room and wait for the right moment to stand. Not because he is unafraid of fire, but because his decision-making is no longer emotional. It is architectural. If you are still watching, subscribe. Right now. Because most will not finish this. Most will get uncomfortable and leave. And that is fine. This is not for them. This is for the ones who are ready to rebuild themselves from the foundation up. Subscribe so you do not lose this. Lesson 1. Courage is the death of self-importance. You want to know why you hesitate? It is because you believe you matter too much. You believe your comfort is sacred. You believe your reputation must be protected. You believe embarrassment is a form of injury. You believe failure will define you. All of this is self-importance. And self-importance is the enemy of courage. Machiavelli watched princes fall because they could not bear the thought of looking weak. He watched generals lose wars because they refused to retreat and lose face. He watched men choose death over humiliation, and he saw that as pathetic. Not noble. Pathetic. The courageous man has performed an execution inside himself. He has killed the part of him that needs to be seen as brave. Once you stop needing to appear courageous, you become it. Because now your actions are not performances. They are functions. You do not ask yourself if this will make you look strong. You ask only if it serves your goal. And when reputation and goal conflict, you sacrifice reputation without a second thought. Let me give you the test. Imagine you are in a meeting. Someone insults you in front of others. Everyone is watching. Your face gets hot. Your mind starts calculating responses. You want to crush them verbally, restore your image, make sure everyone knows you are not weak. That reaction, that need, is self-importance. And it will make you move incorrectly. You will either overreact and look unstable, or you will suppress it and look wounded. Either way, you lose. Now imagine the same moment, but you have already killed your self-importance. Someone insults you. You hear it. You feel nothing. Not because you are numb, but because their opinion is not structural to your reality. You decide in 1 second whether responding serves you. If it does, you respond with precision, no emotion. If it does not, you say nothing, and the silence unsettles them more than any comeback could. You do not wonder what people think. You do not replay it later. It is done. You have moved on. That is courage. Not the courage to fight back. The courage to be untouchable. Comment below. Have you ever been insulted and done nothing? And did it feel like power or fear? Be honest. Lesson 2. Courage is predecision, not reaction. Here is what separates masters from amateurs. Amateurs decide in the moment. Masters decided years ago. When the moment comes, they are simply executing. There is no hesitation because there is no decision being made. The decision is already done. Machiavelli understood this in politics. He knew that a prince who deliberates during a crisis is a prince who will be overthrown. The time to decide your principles is now, in silence, when there is no pressure. Then, when the world is collapsing, you do not think. You act according to preset law. Let me show you how this works. A man is offered a bribe. Life-changing money. All he has to do is compromise once. If he has not pre-decided his stance on integrity, he will deliberate. And in that deliberation, fear will enter. Fear of missing out. Fear of staying poor. Fear of being a fool. And fear will compromise him. But if he decided 5 years ago that he does not accept bribes, no matter the cost, then the offer is not even a decision. It is just noise. He says no and forgets it happened. This applies to everything. Violence, betrayal, sacrifice, love. If you wait until the moment to decide whether you will fight, you have already lost the fight. If you wait until you are drowning to decide whether you value your own life, you will drown. Pre-decision removes the emotional tax, turns courage into reflex. So let me ask you, have you pre-decided your non-negotiables? Have you written them down, internalized them, made them law inside yourself? Or are you still improvising your identity based on how you feel today? Because if it is the latter, you are not courageous. You are lucky, and luck runs out. Machiavelli wrote that fortune is a woman, and she favors the bold. But boldness is not recklessness. Boldness is the willingness to act on pre-made decisions while others are still afraid to choose. That is the gap. That is where power lives. Lesson 3. Courage is not loud. They have sold you a lie in every movie, every speech, every story. They show you the hero screaming before the charge, the warrior beating his chest, the leader giving the rousing speech. And you think courage looks like that. It does not. That is theater. Real courage is quiet. It does not announce itself because it does not need to. Machiavelli knew that the most dangerous men in any room are the ones who say the least. They do not need to prove anything. They have already decided. And that decision sits in them like a blade in a sheath, visible only when drawn. Loud courage is compensation. It is a man trying to convince himself and others that he is ready. Quiet courage is presence. It is a man who is already ready and sees no need to perform it. When you see someone talking about how brave they are going to be, you are watching someone unsure. When you see someone say nothing and then move, you are watching someone who has built the structure. Think about predators. A lion does not roar before the kill. It roars to mark territory, to warn, to communicate across distances. But in the hunt, it is silent. Completely silent. Because noise is waste. Noise is inefficiency. And courage, Machiavellian courage, is efficient. It does not expend energy on display. Now ask yourself, when you are about to do something difficult, do you talk about it? Do you tell people your plans, your fears, your determination? If you do, you are bleeding energy. You are seeking validation. You are trying to lock yourself into the action by making it public. And that is a weak form of courage. It depends on external pressure. Real courage is internal law. You do not need an audience. You do not need accountability partners. You have made the decision, and the decision governs you. Let me tell you what happens when you go quiet. When you stop announcing your intentions, people start to notice something different about you. They cannot predict you anymore. They cannot manipulate you with praise or shame. You become unreadable. And in a world where everyone is performing, the person who is not performing has all the power. Subscribe if this is landing. If you feel it rewiring something in you. Because this is just the beginning. Lesson 4. Courage is the willingness to be hated. You will never be free until you are willing to be despised. This is not about being cruel or antagonistic. This is about understanding that the moment you prioritize being liked over being effective, you have surrendered your courage. Machiavelli stated it plainly. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. But more than that, he understood that the need to be loved is a cage. It makes you controllable. It makes you predictable. It makes you weak. Every time you hold back the truth because you do not want to upset someone, you are choosing comfort over courage. Every time you agree with a group when you believe differently, you are trading your spine for acceptance. And the tragedy is, you think you are keeping the peace. But what you are really doing is eroding yourself, bit by bit, until there is nothing left but a shape that pleases others and disgusts you. The courageous man accepts that his actions will create enemies. He does not seek this, but he does not avoid it either. He knows that any position of strength will threaten someone. Any boundary he sets will offend someone. Any success he achieves will inspire envy. And he is fine with that. Not because he enjoys conflict, but because he refuses to shrink to make others comfortable. Here is the test. Think of something you believe but have never said out loud because you know it will make you unpopular. Hold it in your mind. Feel the weight of it. Now ask yourself, why have you not said it? If the answer is because it is not the right time or place, that is strategy, and strategy is fine. But if the answer is because you are afraid of being disliked, that is cowardice. And cowardice kills you slowly. Machiavelli would tell you this. The hatred of others is not your problem. Your problem is whether you can function while being hated. If you can, you are free. If you cannot, you are a puppet. Comment now. Tell me one belief you have never said out loud. You do not have to say what it is. Just admit that it exists. That is the first step to killing the need for approval. Lesson 5. Courage is proximity to violence. This will make some of you uncomfortable. Good. Discomfort is the price of transformation. Machiavelli understood that all political power, all social power, all personal power rests on the capacity for violence. Not the use of it, but the capacity, the willingness, the readiness. A man who cannot access violence, even hypothetically, is not peaceful. He is harmless. And there is a difference. A peaceful man chooses not to harm. A harmless man has no choice. One is respected. The other is ignored. Courage requires that you know you are capable of damage. Not that you go around hurting people. But that deep inside, you know if pushed far enough you could. You would. This is not about becoming aggressive. This is about removing the internal blockage that makes you assume you must always absorb harm. Most people have been socialized to fear their own capacity for force. They have been taught that anger is bad, that aggression is toxic, that the moral person is always calm and accommodating. And this teaching has neutered them. The courageous man has made peace with his own danger. He knows what he is capable of. He has thought through scenarios. He has trained, mentally or physically or both, to respond if necessary. And because of this, he does not live in fear. He does not wonder what he would do if someone threatened him or his family. He already knows. The decision is made. And that knowing creates a kind of calm that others can feel but not name. There was a philosopher, a teacher, known for his gentleness. Students loved him. He spoke softly, never raised his voice, preached compassion. One night, a man broke into his home. The philosopher met him in the hallway. No words. He struck the intruder twice, efficiently, and held him on the ground until authorities arrived. When asked later how a man of peace could be so violent, he said this: "I am not non-violent. I am disciplined. Violence is a tool. I simply choose when to use it." That is Machiavellian courage. Not the absence of violence. The mastery of it. Now let me ask you, if someone threatened someone you loved, do you know what you would do? Have you visualized it? Have you prepared mentally? Or do you just hope it never happens? Because hope is not a strategy. And if you have not made peace with your capacity for force, you will freeze when it matters. Lesson 6. Courage is financial. No one tells you this. They talk about bravery in war, in love, in art. But they do not talk about the courage it takes to walk away from money. To say no to the salary that comes with chains. To refuse the promotion that requires you to compromise. To build something alone with no guarantee instead of taking the safe position. This is where most people fail. Not because they lack heart, but because they lack the financial courage to endure uncertainty. Machiavelli wrote The Prince while in exile, poor, reputation destroyed. He could have begged for a position. He could have softened his ideas to be more palatable. He could have written what the Medici wanted to hear. Instead, he wrote the truth as he saw it. Not because he was reckless, but because he had already accepted poverty as a potential cost of honesty. That is courage. The willingness to lose everything material in exchange for something immaterial. Integrity. Autonomy. Self-respect. Most modern cowardice is economic. People stay in jobs that hollow them out because they are afraid of losing stability. They remain in partnerships that drain them because they are afraid of financial disruption. They do not start the business, write the book, move to the new city, because they cannot tolerate the gap between certainty and possibility. And so they live safely. And they die never knowing what they could have been. Let me be clear. I am not telling you to be stupid with money. Strategic patience is not cowardice. But if you are staying somewhere solely because you are afraid, that is not strategy. That is surrender. The courageous man builds his life so that he can walk away from anything. He keeps his expenses low. He saves margin. He does not lock himself into debt that makes him controllable. He makes himself financially hard to threaten. And because of that, his decisions are clean. He is not negotiating with fear every time an opportunity or threat appears. He can move. Ask yourself, if your income disappeared tomorrow, how long could you survive? 1 month, 3, 6, 12. The longer that runway, the more courageous you can afford to be. And if the answer is 0, then you are not free. You are employed by your fear. Subscribe if you want more of this. If you are tired of surface-level advice. If you are ready to actually build something permanent inside yourself. Subscribe now. Lesson 7. Courage is repetition. Here is what they do not show you in the movies. The hero does not become brave in one moment. He becomes brave in 10,000 small moments that no one sees. Courage is not an event. It is a habit. Machiavelli observed that soldiers are not born. They are drilled. The same action, over and over, until it is no longer a conscious choice. It is reflex, muscle memory, neurological pathway. And once it is that deep, fear cannot interfere. This applies to everything. You do not become courageous by waiting for the big moment. You become courageous by practicing in the small ones. Every time you speak up in a meeting when you would normally stay quiet, you are building the structure. Every time you approach someone you find attractive instead of walking past, you are laying a brick. Every time you set a boundary with someone who will not like it, you are reinforcing the foundation. These moments feel insignificant. They are not. They are everything. Because when the real test comes, when the stakes are high and the pressure is unbearable, you will not rise to the occasion. You will default to your training. And if you have not trained, you will collapse. But if you have been practicing courage in mundane moments for years, the big moment will not feel that different. It will just be another repetition. Let me give you a practice. Every day, do one thing that makes you slightly uncomfortable. Not reckless. Not dangerous. Just uncomfortable. Say the thing you would normally suppress. Make the ask you would normally avoid. Walk into the room you would normally pass by. Small acts. Repeated daily. In 6 months, you will not recognize yourself. Not because you had a breakthrough, but because you laid 10,000 bricks, and now you live inside a fortress. Lesson 8. Courage is the destruction of exit routes. Machiavelli tells the story of a general who, upon landing his army on enemy shores, burned his own ships. His soldiers watched the only way home turn to ash. And in that moment they understood. There was no retreat, no fallback, no plan B, victory or death. The general did not give a speech about bravery. He made retreat impossible. And once retreat was impossible, his men fought like gods. This is the secret most people cannot stomach. You are not courageous because you have options. You are courageous because you destroy them. As long as you have a backup plan, you will default to it the moment things get hard. As long as you can go back to the old job, the old city, the old relationship, you will. The existence of the exit is the reason you do not go all in. Burning the ships is not recklessness. It is clarity. It is saying to yourself and the universe, I have chosen. And now the only direction is forward. This is terrifying. It is supposed to be. But terror is the cost of transformation. Comfort is the cost of stagnation. Choose. Let me ask you, what is your ship? What is the thing you are keeping around just in case? The backup plan. The safety net. The excuse. It might be a relationship you have not fully ended. A job you are staying in while you half build something else. A city you are too afraid to leave. Whatever it is, that is your ship. And as long as it exists, you are not fully committed. You are hedging. And hedging is the opposite of courage. Now I am not saying burn it today. But I am saying see it. Name it. Understand that it is the anchor keeping you from becoming who you need to be. And when you are ready, when you have built enough structure, burn it. Burn it completely. And watch what you become in the aftermath. Comment below. What is your ship? The thing you know you need to let go of but have not yet. You do not have to say it publicly, but say it to yourself. Admit it. Lesson 9. Courage is the acceptance of death. Everything I have said so far builds to this. You cannot be truly courageous until you have made peace with your own end. Not in a morbid way. Not in a suicidal way. But in a liberated way. Machiavelli lived in a time when death was visible. Public executions. Plague. War. Assassination. He saw men cling to life so desperately that they sacrificed everything else to preserve it. And he saw others who had accepted death and therefore could not be controlled. This is the final layer. The ultimate structure. When you are no longer afraid to die, you are no longer afraid of anything. Because every other fear is downstream from that one. Fear of failure is fear of a kind of death. Fear of rejection is fear of social death. Fear of poverty is fear of death by exposure. Fear of humiliation is fear of identity death. It all traces back. And if you cut the root, the tree dies. How do you do this? You think about it. Seriously. Not once. Regularly. You sit with the fact that you will die. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe in 50 years. But certainly. And you ask yourself, if I died tomorrow, what would I regret? Not doing. Not saying. Not becoming. And then you let that answer govern your behavior today. The Stoics practiced this. Memento mori. Remember you will die. Not to be depressed, but to be liberated. Because once you truly absorb that your time is finite and non-negotiable, you stop wasting it on cowardice. You stop avoiding the conversation. You stop delaying the project. You stop pretending you have forever. Machiavelli would say this. The prince who fears death will be controlled by anyone who threatens it. The prince who has accepted death cannot be threatened at all. He can only be killed. And killing him does not undo what he has already done. So let me ask you the question. Are you living like you will die? Or are you living like you have infinite time to figure it out later? Because I promise you, you do not. Lesson 10. Courage is isolation. This one will hurt. Because you want to believe that courage is something you build with others. That you need a team, a community, a support network. And while companionship is valuable, the deepest courage is built alone. Machiavelli spent years in exile. Alone. Stripped of power. Ignored. And it was in that isolation that he wrote the ideas that outlived emperors. Because isolation forces you to face yourself. And yourself is the only opponent that matters. When you are alone, you cannot perform. There is no audience. No one to impress. No one to validate you. It is just you and the voice in your head. And that voice will tell you everything you are afraid of. It will tell you that you are not enough. That you will fail. That you are a fraud. And you have two choices. Believe it. Or build something stronger than it. Courageous people spend time alone, not because they are antisocial, but because they know that the crowd dilutes clarity. Other people's fears become your fears. Other people's doubts become your doubts. Other people's limitations become your ceiling. And if you are always surrounded, you never find out what you actually believe. You just echo the room. So here is the practice. Spend time alone. Real time. Not scrolling. Not distracted. Just you and silence. Walk alone. Sit alone. Think alone. Let the discomfort come. Let the anxiety surface. Do not run from it. Sit in it. And on the other side of that discomfort, you will find something unbreakable. Because the man who can endure himself can endure anything. Lesson 11. Courage is not hope. Hope is passive. Hope is waiting for the universe to align. Hope is what you do when you are not willing to act. Machiavelli had no patience for hope. He believed in preparation, in calculation, in action. Hope to him was the drug weak men took to avoid facing reality. And I am telling you the same thing. If you are hoping things get better, hoping you find courage, hoping the moment will come when you finally feel ready, you are wasting your life. Courage is not found. It is made. And it is made through decision and repetition and exposure. You do not wait to feel brave. You act, and the feeling follows. Sometimes it follows immediately. Sometimes it takes years. But it always follows action. Never precedes it. So stop hoping. Start building. Lesson 12. Courage is silence in the face of provocation. They will test you. All the time. People will insult you to see if you react. They will provoke you to see if you are controllable. They will push boundaries to see where you break. And if you react emotionally, you have failed. Not morally. Structurally. Because reaction is evidence that they have access to your nervous system. And once someone knows they can make you react, they own you. The courageous man does not react. He responds. Or he does nothing. Both are choices. Both are controlled. Reaction is automatic. Response is deliberate. Learn the difference. When someone insults you and you feel the heat rise, that is the moment. That is where courage is built or broken. If you lash out, you lose. If you suppress it and seethe, you lose. If you pause, assess, and either respond with precision or dismiss entirely, you win. Not the argument. The frame. You win the frame. Machiavelli watched diplomats who could be insulted to their face and smile. Not because they were weak. Because they were patient. They knew that revenge is a dish best served cold. And they knew that the man who loses his composure loses the room. Subscribe if you have not yet. This is the knowledge that changes lives. Do not let it slip past you. Lesson 13. Courage is becoming inevitable. This is the final form. When courage is so deeply embedded in you that people feel it before you speak. When your presence communicates that you will not break, will not beg, will not compromise on what matters. When people look at you and know instinctively that you have made your decisions and no amount of pressure will change them. That is inevitability. Machiavelli called this virtue. Not virtue in the moral sense. Virtue in the sense of force. Of capability. Of a kind of personal gravity that pulls events toward you instead of you being blown around by them. Men with virtue do not ask permission. They do not wait for approval. They move. And the world rearranges itself around their movement. You become inevitable when failure is no longer a concept that applies to you. Not because you never lose, but because loss does not define you. You lose a battle and you continue. You lose money and you rebuild. You lose reputation and you do not care. You have separated your identity from outcomes. And once that separation is complete, you are untouchable. This is what it means to build courage so strong that failure becomes impossible. Failure is impossible not because you always win, but because you have constructed a self that cannot be destroyed by loss. Let me paint the picture. Imagine a version of you that wakes up with no anxiety. Not because life is easy, but because you have pre-decided everything that matters. You know what you will tolerate and what you will not. You know what you value and what you do not. You have accepted death. You have accepted hatred. You have accepted loss. And because you have accepted all of it, none of it controls you. That version of you moves through the world differently, speaks differently, walks differently. People feel it. They do not know what it is, but they feel that you are not like them. You are not scanning the room for approval. You are not calculating how to be liked. You are just present, decided, solid. That is the end goal. That is what we are building toward. Lesson 14. Courage is refusal to explain yourself. Weak men explain. They justify. They overcommunicate because they need you to understand their reasoning, to approve of their choices, to validate their existence. The courageous man states, he does not defend. He does not need you to agree. He has made the decision, and your confusion or disapproval is not his problem. Machiavelli did not write The Prince as a defense. He wrote it as a statement. This is how power works. Agree or do not. He did not care. And that is why it has lasted 500 years. Because truth stated plainly does not need decoration. When you stop explaining yourself, something shifts. People stop questioning you as much. Because the need to explain signals doubt. And people can smell doubt. But when you say something with finality, when there is no invitation to debate, people accept it. Even if they do not like it. Practice this. Make a decision. State it. And when someone asks why, say, because I decided. Nothing more. Feel how much power that reclaims. Lesson 15. Courage is the willingness to start over. You think courage is staying the course. Sometimes it is. But sometimes courage is burning everything you built and starting from nothing. Because you realize the foundation was wrong. The direction was wrong. And every day you continue is a day wasted. Most people do not have the courage to start over. They have invested too much. Sunk cost fallacy. They have told too many people about the plan. Ego. They are too old, too tired, too afraid. Excuses. And so they continue building on a broken foundation, and they wonder why everything they create eventually collapses. The courageous man can walk away from years of work if he sees it is not aligned. He does not mourn the time lost. He learned, and now he knows better, and he starts again. Smarter, faster, stronger. Machiavelli lost everything. Political career, reputation, wealth, freedom. And he started over, in exile, with nothing but a pen. And he built a legacy that outlasted the people who destroyed him. If you need to start over, start over. The only thing more tragic than starting over at 40 is realizing at 50 you should have started over at 40 and did not. Comment if you have ever started over. Or if you know you need to and have not yet. Let us be real here. Lesson 16. Courage is eye contact. Small thing. Massive impact. The way you look at people or do not tells them everything. If you break eye contact first, you have submitted. If you avoid it entirely, you are afraid. If you hold it too long with intensity, you are trying too hard. But if you hold it naturally, calmly, without aggression or fear, you communicate something primal. I am here. I see you. And I am not intimidated. Machiavelli knew that dominance is often established in silence. A look, a posture, a refusal to flinch. These things communicate faster than words. And they are believed more deeply. Practice holding eye contact until the other person looks away. Not in a hostile way. Just calmly. You will be shocked how many people cannot do it. And you will be shocked how differently people treat you when you can. Lesson 17. Courage is decisiveness. Hesitation is death. In war. In business. In love. The moment you hesitate, you give the other side time to adjust. Time to defend. Time to counter. Decisive action, even if slightly wrong, is better than perfect action that comes too late. Machiavelli wrote that it is better to act and fail than to deliberate and do nothing. Because action gives you information. Inaction gives you nothing but time to doubt. The courageous man decides fast. Not recklessly. But without the paralysis that most people suffer from. He gathers enough information to make a reasonable judgment, and then he moves. And if it turns out wrong, he adjusts. He does not agonize. He does not second-guess himself into paralysis. You want to know why some people achieve more in 5 years than others do in 50? Decisiveness. They try 10 things while others are still thinking about one. 9 of the 10 might fail, but the one that works makes up for all of it. Stop deliberating. Decide. Move. Adjust. Repeat. Lesson 18. Courage is saying no. You think yes is the brave answer. Sometimes it is. But more often, no is. No to the opportunity that does not align. No to the friend who drains you. No to the obligation that serves someone else's agenda. No to the comfort that keeps you small. Every time you say yes when you mean no, you betray yourself. And every betrayal weakens your structure. The courageous man protects his time, his energy, his attention like they are sacred. Because they are. And he does not feel guilty about it. Machiavelli would tell you that the prince who tries to please everyone loses everyone. Because he stands for nothing. But the prince who says no, who sets boundaries, who is willing to lose favor in order to maintain integrity, that prince is respected. Maybe not liked, but respected. And respect lasts longer than popularity. Start saying no. Without apology. Without explanation. Just no. Lesson 19. Courage is physical. You cannot build mental courage on a weak body. The two are connected. Machiavelli understood that soldiers needed to be physically capable not just for combat, but for morale. A weak body creates a weak mind. It makes you hesitant. It makes you avoid conflict because you know you cannot handle it physically. You do not need to be a warrior, but you need to be capable. You need to know that if it came down to it, you could handle yourself. That knowledge changes you. It removes a layer of fear that most people do not even realize they carry. Train, lift, fight, run, something, anything. But do not live in a body that makes you afraid of the physical world. Because that fear will bleed into everything else. Lesson 20. Courage is legacy. Why are you building this? Not for comfort. Comfort is the enemy. Not for safety. Safety is an illusion. You are building this because you want to leave something behind. Something that proves you were here. That you mattered. That you did not waste the one life you were given. Machiavelli was tortured, exiled, humiliated, and he could have disappeared into bitterness. But he wrote, and what he wrote outlived his enemies, outlived the governments that punished him, outlived the age he lived in. You cannot build mental courage on a weak body. The two are connected. Machiavelli understood that soldiers needed to be physically capable not just for combat, but for morale. A weak body creates a weak mind. It makes you hesitant. It makes you avoid conflict because you know you cannot handle it physically. You do not need to be a warrior, but you need to be capable. You need to know that if it came down to it, you could handle yourself. That knowledge changes you. It removes a layer of fear that most people do not even realize they carry. Train, lift, fight, run, something, anything. But do not live in a body that makes you afraid of the physical world. Because that fear will bleed into everything else. Lesson 20. Courage is legacy. Why are you building this? Not for comfort. Comfort is the enemy. Not for safety. Safety is an illusion. You are building this because you want to leave something behind. Something that proves you were here. That you mattered. That you did not waste the one life you were given. Machiavelli was tortured, exiled, humiliated, and he could have disappeared into bitterness. But he wrote, and what he wrote outlived his enemies, outlived the governments that punished him, outlived the age he lived in. That is courage. Not just surviving, but creating something that survives you. What are you building that will last after you are gone? If the answer is nothing, then what are you doing? You have been given this brief, strange, painful, beautiful existence. And you can either spend it comfortably numb, or you can spend it building something worth remembering. The courageous man chooses the latter. Every time. Subscribe now if you want to be part of the small group that actually does this. That actually takes this knowledge and builds with it. Most people will watch and forget. You do not have to be most people. Let me bring this together. You started this video thinking courage was a feeling, something you have or you do not. And now you know better. Courage is a structure, built brick by brick, in silence, in small moments, in decisions made when no one is watching. You build it by killing self-importance, by pre-deciding your values, by staying quiet when others perform, by accepting that you will be hated, by making peace with violence, by becoming financially untouchable, by repeating small acts of bravery until they become reflex, by burning your escape routes, by accepting death, by spending time alone, by refusing to hope and choosing to act, by not reacting to provocation, by becoming inevitable. You build it by refusing to explain yourself, by being willing to start over, by holding eye contact, by deciding fast, by saying no, by training your body, by creating a legacy. And once you have built it, failure becomes impossible. Not because you never lose, but because loss no longer defines you. You have become something that cannot be broken by circumstances. You have become Machiavellian in the truest sense. Not cruel, not manipulative, but sovereign, unstoppable, immune to the chaos that destroys weaker men. This is not theory. This is actionable. This is the blueprint. And if you apply it, your life will change. Not overnight, but inevitably. So here is your final instruction. Choose one lesson from this video. 1. Do not try to do all of them. Choose one. The one that hit you hardest. The one that made you uncomfortable. And practice it every day for the next 30 days. Just one. If it is killing self-importance, practice letting insults pass without reaction. If it is pre-decision, write down your non-negotiables today. If it is silence, stop announcing your plans. If it is financial courage, build 6 months of runway. If it is repetition, do one uncomfortable thing daily. If it is burning ships, identify your backup plan and prepare to destroy it. If it is accepting death, meditate on your mortality every morning. If it is isolation, spend an hour alone in silence daily. If it is decisiveness, make every decision in under 60 seconds. If it is saying no, decline 3 things this week that do not serve you. If it is physical, start training today. One thing, 30 days, and watch what happens. Now let me tell you what happens next. You are going to close this video. You are going to feel inspired for about 11 minutes. And then life is going to return. Distractions, obligations, comfort. And in 3 days, you will have forgotten most of this. That is what happens to most people. But not you. Because you are going to do something different. You are going to comment below right now. You are going to write one sentence. The lesson you chose and the commitment you are making. Make it public. Lock yourself in. Because the moment you make it public, you have created accountability. And accountability is the bridge between intention and action. Do it now. Comment. Choose your lesson. State your commitment. And then subscribe. Because this is not the last time you will need this. You will need to come back. You will need reminders. You will need the next layer. And if you are not subscribed, you will forget. The algorithm will bury this. And you will go back to sleep. So subscribe. Now. Not later. Now. Let me leave you with this. Machiavelli died alone. Forgotten by most of his contemporaries. Considered a failure by the standards of his time. And yet, 500 years later, we are still speaking his name. Still studying his ideas. Still using his frameworks to understand power. Why? Because he built something true. Something that could not be destroyed by time or trend or the opinions of small men. He built a structure of ideas so solid that it has outlasted empires. You have that same opportunity. Not to write a book necessarily, but to build a life, a character, a self so solid that it cannot be destroyed. Not by failure. Not by criticism. Not by loss. Not by time. That is what courage gives you. Not the absence of fear. not the guarantee of success, but the construction of something permanent inside you, something that makes you unbreakable. And once you are unbreakable, failure becomes a word that no longer applies. Build it, starting today. I will see you in the next one. If you are ready for more,